Hi, this is Edward Troxel. In today's tutorial, we're going to look at what it would take to write out all the information from all the events on the timeline out to a text file. And this is coming specifically from a request from the forums, so let's take a look at that. Here we can see the person is wanting to write out the file name and in and out times for all events, and he's wanting to do it for multiple VEG files. So he says he has a number of VEG files and looking for a way to write a script to put the in and out times of all events and all of the start and end times of the events in the final video and the start and end times from the clip where the event was extracted from, along with the file name. So let's take a look and see what it's going to take to do something like that. And we've looked at many of these things before, but we haven't combine them all together in this particular way. So let's see what it takes to combine them together to get this person running script that will do what he wants to do. Previously, we have gotten a list of file names before, and to do that, we created a string, an array string, to hold the file names. So it's going to be an array of strings with one file name per entry. But now we're going to have to output to a file. We haven't done this before. To do this, I'm going to create a file stream variable, which I'm just going to call outstream. And I'm going to create a stream writer variable, which I'm just going to call outWriter. Then we do our normal process here. We do our myVegas equals Vegas. And then if we go back to our old tutorial where we rendered out multiple files at one time, we are doing the exact same thing here. We're doing an open file dialog, which I'm just calling OFD equals a new open file dialog. Then we're going to set the filter of that open file dialog to Vegas projects, which is star.veg. And then I'm also throwing the all files in there because that's a fairly standard thing to do. Next, we're going to set the multi-select variable to true because we want them to be able to select multiple projects. Then we're going to set the title of that dialog box to select the Vegas projects to process. Then we need to show that dialog so the person can actually select the files, and then we want to get the result, whether or not they pressed OK or cancel, into our dialog result, which we just called DR. So if DR equals system.windows.forms.dialogresult.OK, if they clicked the OK button, then we want to do all of this stuff to process the file. If they did not, then we scroll down and we can see here's the end of the if statement. If they did not click on OK, then we just do nothing because all this stuff will not be done. So now that they've clicked on OK, the names are in OFD.fileNames. So I'm going to put them into my file names array. Then for each string, each one is a file in file names. Then I want to process that file. First thing I'm going to do is clear the current Vegas project. This false and this false, if we open our parentheses here, we can see that the first false is to prompt us to save. I'm saying don't show a prompt to save this project. The second one is the show dialog, so it's not going to show a dialog either. It is simply going to close this project without asking anything. So if your current project has not been saved, I suggest you save it before running the script. Then we're going to open the first project that we selected. So this will go through and do every file. We're going to open that particular file. And now I want to figure out where to output the information to. So I'm creating me a new string, which I'm calling output file. And I'm getting the path of the veg file. Then adding the separator character for the directory. And then getting the veg name without the .veg. And then adding the .txt. So if we had c:\project.veg, this output file is now going to be c:\project.txt. So exactly the same, except .veg is changed to .txt. Now, if that text file exists, I want to delete that text file. And the reason for doing that is down here I'm doing an open or create, which will simply open the file and start writing information to it. The problem is, if that file already has information in it and I write less information to it, all of the extra information will still be there. In other words, I'm not deleting and starting from scratch, I'm just overwriting down to as far as I happen to use. So I want to actually delete the file so that if the original file was longer than my new file output would have been, then only the information that I'm using will be there when I finish. So now that the file is deleted, I need to create the new file. So I'm going to create a new out stream, which is a new file stream from the output file, and I am doing an open or create. Then I'm going to create a new writer, which is a new stream writer from that output stream. Next, I'm now going to go through all of the tracks. So get my track in Vegas.project.tracks, which we've done many times. In this case, I want to determine, is this a video track or is it an audio track? So I'm just going to do a string type of track is video. Then, if it is audio, if my track.isAudio, change that variable to read audio instead. Now, I could have a larger if-then statement and have if my track.isVideo, then set track type equal to video, else set track type equal to audio, but I find it simpler to let's just set it one way, and then if it's something else, let's change it. Now let's go through each of the events on that track. So for each track event in my track.events, one thing I don't want to do is look at the generated media stuff. So my projects have some titles in them, and titles and text is a generated media. I don't want them to show up in my list. So I decided to put this on here if it is not event.activeTake.media.isGenerated. If it is not a generated media, then I will process it. So now I'm going to create me a new string, which is going to be my output line. So I just call that output line, outline. And the first thing I want to get is my track number. Remember, track.index is 0 based. So for me to see track 1 as track 1, I have to add 1 to it. So it's going to be my track.index plus 1. And then I just put some spaces in there and added the track type. Notice our track type already has the spaces added, so I didn't have to add them here. Then I want to continue adding more stuff to outline. So outline equals outline plus, I'm going to get the event.start to string. The event.start is where on that track does this event start. Then some spaces. Then event.end.toString. Where does this event end on this track? And then I threw in some more spaces. Then I want to add some more stuff to outline. Event.activeTake.offset. This is a new thing that we haven't looked at before. So let's see what that actually means. When I add a clip to the timeline, it becomes an event. And this event uses from the very beginning of the clip to the very end of the clip. Now, suppose I wanted to start using this clip here, and I wanted to end using this clip here. So now my event is just a small piece of the original clip. So I am actually beginning at 11.14 into the clip. So I'm 11.5 seconds into the clip that is not being used. So we want to get where am I actually starting to use this clip, and then we want this length to determine how much of that clip are we using. So this ActiveTake.offset will give us the start position inside the clip where we are using, and then the event.length will tell us how much from that start location are we using. And then finally, let's add in the event.activeTake.media path. The media path will be the full path to that piece of media. Now we write that information to the new file. So we go to our outwriter and we write line, and we're output this string that we just created. So now that new piece of information will be added to the text file. Then we keep doing this for every event, for every track. When we're finally done doing all events on all tracks, then we come down here and take our outwriter and we need to close it. And then we take our outstream and we need to close that. And then I went ahead and threw this in here so that it would clear the project, so that I would know once the Vegas has stopped loading and is on a clear project that it has finished. So let's take this and run it and see what happens. Now when I run this, I'm going to lose the changes to this project, which I'm perfectly fine with because we were just using this as an example. So we're going to go with Tools, Scripting, Run Script, and run this script. Now we need to select some VEG files. I'm going to come down here and select numbers 19, 20, and 21. And so we'll just click on Open. There it's processing 19, 20, and 21. So those have all now been processed, and let's see what we have. So if I go into this folder, you can now see for 19 I have a text file, for 20 I have a text file, for 21 I have a text file, for 22 I do not have a text file. And then if we open this text file, we will see that on track 2, which is a video track, the event started at 5:21. It ended at 13.00. It used from the very beginning of the clip, and it was 7.09 seconds long. If we come down here, we will see in this particular case 398 was actually used 3 times. You can see the first time it was used from the very beginning, and it used the first 5 seconds worth. The second time we started 15.19 seconds in, and it went for a length of 34.17. Then the third time we started using it at 56.27, and we used 19.24. So you can see in all of those cases we used partial clips, and this tells us where we started using it and the length we used. So as you can see, we were able to get all of the information about the event and put them out into separate text files, one for each VEG file, and we were able to process multiple VEG files just by selecting them all at once and just sitting back and watching Vegas work for us. That is one of the cool things about the scripting, in that we can actually let Vegas do all the work for us, and it just really simplifies things so that we don't have to. It's one of those work smarter, not harder things. So I think in this case, this is definitely a work smarter, not harder situation, in that all of the VEG files can be processed at once. I hope you liked this tutorial. Let me know what more tutorials you'd like to see in the future. And if you haven't, visit www.JETDV.com as well, where you can find all of these tutorials there and a few other things such as Excalibur and Montage Magic. Until next time, I'll keep waiting to hear what you'd like to see in tutorials. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.